One of the most fan-requested vehicles, the Sea Sparrow, is coming out this Tuesday, and in this video, I'll be going over 15 things that you should know before you buy it. I'm putting this out before it goes live because ultimately, I want you guys to be aware of what you're getting. While everyone may be getting caught up in nostalgia, is this thing really that good? I'll answer that and have a full review when this does come out on Tuesday. But starting with some of the basics about this vehicle, the Sea Sparrow, that you need to know. First off, its price tag. Its price tag is actually going to be $1.8 million. Now, apparently it was supposed to have a trade price, but it looks like that's not actually going to be the case. So you're going to be spending $1.8 million for this helicopter. Another thing, it only allows 2 people. So unlike the Dodo seaplane, you can't actually have people on the side. So that is kind of unfortunate. Another thing, it's actually not going to be a CEO vehicle. It's not going to be like the Buzzard, where you can call it instantly. Unfortunately, you are going to need to buy a hangar if you don't have one to purchase this vehicle. It's also not going to be a Pegasus vehicle. You're going to need one of the 5 hangars that are in the game, and it will take up a small hangar spot. So it'll work the same way the Akula and the Hunter and some of the other planes and aircraft that are in the game. As for customization, it really doesn't have much. There are no liveries for this vehicle, so if you're expecting some decent customization with some cool liveries, don't, because there is none. Also, the oddest part of this vehicle, there are no countermeasures. And in today's day and age, it almost seems like every single aircraft should have countermeasures. Now, the one good thing that might happen, Rockstar in the latest update put countermeasures on the Avenger, which did not originally have them. So maybe that's what happens here. It doesn't originally have them, but in the next update, they put countermeasures on it. Who knows? But that is something that is very unfortunate. Now, it still could be good because the Buzzard is still good without countermeasures, but the Buzzard also has the advantage of spawning right next to you through the CEO menu. I think I'll be doing a full Sea Sparrow versus Buzzard guide when this vehicle does come out, but it doesn't have countermeasures, and that is definitely not a good thing. The main 2 things you can customize or add are the machine gun and the rockets, which I'll talk about here in a second. As for armor, this thing is not really good at all. It has a lower explosive resistance compared to some of the other aircrafts or other helicopters. Shooting it with the Mark II revolver with FMJ bullets, I believe after 3 or 4 bullets, it starts smoking and the engine starts to fail. And after 8 bullets, it explodes. As for sniper explosions, it only takes 3 to explode, and that's not a lot. Now, granted, if you are comparing it to like the Buzzard or something, it's on par, but I would have liked to seen this be a little bit better than the Buzzard, considering it does cost a little bit more, and considering it's coming out in today's day and age. The Buzzard, for what it is, it came out when the game first launched, which is nowhere near the game that we have today. So if you're wanting this vehicle to be somewhat armored, unfortunately it's not, and I guess that is to be expected if you just look at it. Now, the main selling point of this vehicle is that it can land on water. But be careful, because I noticed when I was driving around or flying around in single player, it's not as easy as it sounds. You have to land pretty slow to get a good landing. And if you're out further in the sea where there are a lot of waves, the waves can actually destroy your vehicle. You can't really drift land on the water. You can't go super fast and land. You're going to totally damage and destroy your helicopter. And you can't really land on an angle or it'll flip over and get destroyed. Like I said, you have to go slow and you have to sort of just go straight down, which does kind of suck, but hey, at least we can land on the water. That's still a cool feature. As for the top speed, I got it to around 150 miles an hour. I mean, that's sort of a variable number. Sometimes it's lower, sometimes it does hit that 150. It just really depends on a lot of things, and if you're going in between buildings and stuff, you're not really going to get that top speed. And speaking of going through buildings, I do like the handling. I feel like if you like the Buzzard, you will like this helicopter in terms of handling, and in terms of top speed, it's very, very similar to that Buzzard. Like I said, I'll be doing a full Buzzard and Sea Sparrow review to see how truly different they are, but for the most part, it feels pretty similar. Now, one thing I noticed, I said you can't drift slide on water, but you can actually do that on land, and I had a lot of fun with this. This may be one of like the best parts that was probably unintentional, but because it has like the giant float device things, you can use that to your advantage, and you can go pretty fast and land on the ground, and you will slide. And I think you might end up seeing some people doing some really cool things with this, especially maybe sliding around a corner, using the missiles and then shooting someone or something along those lines. But like I said, I had a lot of fun with that, and I think that'll be a really cool thing that you enjoy if you do end up purchasing this vehicle. Now, getting into the weapons, the weapons are another sort of disappointment. So you do have the 50 cal minigun, and you do have the homing launchers, or the homing missiles. And the minigun, I believe, is the same as the Havoc minigun, and the launcher is the same as the Buzzard. So you're not getting the super deadly, super good Oppressor or Runer 2000 missiles on this, and you're not getting a really powerful or an explosive cannon on this. Now, the one good thing is that the missiles can actually be fired constantly. There is no delay, or there's no wait time. You can just hold down the firing button and it'll infinitely shoot rockets. But make sure you do lock on fully, or they're not going to hit your target. As for the minigun is debatable. I mean, if you're a good enough pilot and you're confident with the minigun on, say, the Buzzard, this will be an upgrade. It does blow up people's cars, like NPC cars and stuff, fairly quickly. It's not going to be like the explosive cannon, obviously, but for what it's worth, I suck in the gameplay, so kind of ignore it. But the few cars that I do blow up, you can see they do blow up relatively quickly compared to some of the other guns or other weaponized vehicles or aircraft. And one pro tip that you can actually use to shoot better, if you're in the air, hit the right thumbstick down, and it'll actually put you in a front view. And I think that's a lot easier to use the minigun, but the minigun isn't bad, but it's not great. Like I said, unless you're a really, really skilled pilot, you're not going to really find the minigun that worthwhile. And side note, it is completely useless against armored vehicles. I sat here for like 30 seconds shooting at this armored insurgent. It wasn't even upgraded, and I didn't even do anything to it. So I would probably suggest just sticking with the homing missiles, even though they're not really that great. You know, it's still a homing missile at the end of the day, and it's constantly firing, so that is a pretty big advantage. I think ultimately the last thing I will say is that you have to look at it like a leisure helicopter that just happens to have guns on it. It's not going to be a weaponized aircraft that is great for offensive power, and it's not an armored aircraft that is good for defensive power. Like I said, it's something that you're just going to drive around or fly around and have fun with. You're not going to take this out when you're trying to get a kill. I mean, unless you want a pretty big challenge, that's the only sort of scenario I see that sort of thing happening. So there you guys have it. Let me know in the comment section what your guys' thoughts are on the Sea Sparrow. Are you excited for this? Are you not? Do you plan on buying it? Do you not? Either way, I think I'll buy it just because I loved it in Vice City. The nostalgia is a pretty big factor in all this. It does suck. It has some of these things that are lacking. I really wish Rockstar would have put some more time and effort into making this vehicle really good. But at the end of the day, it's not a bad vehicle. It's just not a great one. So there you guys have it. That was about 15 or so things that you should know about the Sea Sparrow before you do buy it, coming up this Tuesday. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Please drop the video a like if you did. Subscribe for awesome GTA content. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next one.